Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Matt Modi here with OddsJam, here to give you some NBA player prop best bets for today, Sunday, March 26th. So I actually used a couple different tools to find these NBA player prop best bets. Ton of ways to skin a cat, ton of ways to find profitable bets. One great tool, obviously, is the positive expected value tool, but you can also use the low holds. You can also use the arbitrage tool as well, and we will get into all of that. Before we get started, I would appreciate those of you watching the video if you could like the video, comment, and then subscribe to my YouTube channel. Helps me out a ton. And then I also recommend hitting me up on Twitter at my Twitter handle, JediModi. A link to it is in the description of the video as well. I post a ton of helpful stuff on Twitter. And unfortunately, not everything is able to make it into a YouTube video, so I post stuff on social media. So for these bets, I got 3 for you guys today. One of them I found using the OddsJam positive EV page, and let's chat about that one. So when you're positive EV betting, you're placing bets that are mathematically profitable, that you know the bet you're placing has an edge over the sportsbook you are placing the bet with. For this bet, the first one is DeMar DeRozan to go over 23.5 points. This is at -115 odds at Bet365. So whenever you're positive EV betting, you're always going to see odds in the column here, no vig odds. To sum it up, the no vig odds represent the true line of a market, the most accurate representation of what a market should be priced at. They're pulled, these odds, the odds you see in this column here, are pulled from the sharpest sportsbooks in the world, the sportsbooks that consistently do the best job at pricing odds. That's why these no vig odds are so powerful. So the gap between the no vig odds and the odds of the bet we are placing gives us this percent you see here on the left. Now, the first rebuttal I'm going to get for this play is, why is this a good play if we're only getting a 0.01% edge? The OddsJam perfect line prices this at -115.02. We are locking this in at -115. That seems like a slight edge, and I get it. I do, but you can still find valuable plays even on these lower EV percents. There's just a little bit more digging that you need to do. Part of that digging, click View Event Page, open it up in a new tab. What this does is it pulls up the screen you see here, the entire player points market for the game that you are looking at. So remember, we are taking DeMar DeRozan to go over 23.5 points at -115 odds. The reason why, let me zoom out just a little bit so we can fit everything on the screen. Additionally, why I like this play, aside from the fact that it's on the EV page, we see a couple sportsbooks that price his point total at 24.5, a full point higher than 23.5. And in the long run, that 1 point is a huge deal. We see FanDuel, BetOnline, Fox Bet, PointsBet, and DraftKings all price this total at 24.5, and we got it at 23.5. Another reason why I like it is if you click this button here, the Show No Vig Odds button, it does exactly what it sounds like. It removes the vig from every sportsbook that is pricing a play. So when you click this button, you want to make sure that the odds of the bet you're placing, in this case -115, is better than the majority of the other sportsbooks and where they price these no vig odds at. That's a sign that you are placing a good bet. So let's find out. Let's click the button. So we don't beat it from Caesars. That's fine. Yes, DraftKings. No, Bet Rivers. That's okay. Prize Picks, and Prize Picks doesn't count because it's a DFS company. Yes, Betway. Yes, Pinnacle. So we beat the majority of the sports books. There's only 2 that we don't beat the no vig odds. And then, of course, what I already mentioned, sports books that price this at 24 or 24.5 is another point in our favor. So all in all, this DeMar DeRozan over 23.5 points is a pretty good play, which is why we are locking it in. Play number 1, DeRozan over 23.5 points, -115 at Bet365. Play number 2, I found using OddsJam and using the low holds page. So a low hold, to sum it up very quickly, is essentially when there is a 0% hold on the market between the two sportsbooks, right? This example here, 0%. We see -120, we see +120. Now, the low holds page will provide situations where there's not always going to be a 0% edge. But the logic here is that the sports books are so close together that there's literally less than a fraction of a percent edge between two sports books. There's a possibility that one of the two sports books has odds that are mispriced. And that's essentially all that you're trying to do when you're positive EV betting, is take advantage of sports books that have mispriced odds. And here is a perfect example of one play that I really liked. Devin Vassell, under 3.5 assists, minus 150 at PointsBet. Now, I tried to lock this in at PointsBet. My bet just completely got declined. I couldn't even bet it at all. So hopefully those of you watching this are able to get the bet in. But the reason why it's good, I know the minus 150 odds aren't ideal, but look at where every other book is pricing this, right? Pinnacle at minus 189. The rest of the books we see minus 175, minus 179, minus 185. FanDuel is the only sportsbook that is close here that has a price at minus 158. Every other sportsbook is a clear outlier compared to the minus 150 odds at PointsBet. So yes, I will lock in plays that are at minus 150 if that minus 150 is an outlier compared to the rest of the sportsbooks. I will also lock in a play that is plus 150 for the exact same logic. If we're getting something at plus 150 and every other book has it at plus 120, there is value on that plus 150 bet, right? When you're positive EV betting, the odds of the individual bet don't matter until you compare it to the rest of the sports books. So I'm not going to immediately, okay, yeah, I'm not betting that because I'm not betting those odds. Because you're just looking for value. And if you can get a value compared to the rest of the sports books, that is something that will be profitable in the long run. You're not going to win every single bet, right? Of course not. The sports still need to be played and sports are unpredictable. Sometimes you have a March Madness tournament where not a single one seed makes the Elite Eight for the first time ever. Sports are unpredictable. You're not going to win every single bet, but if you can consistently place bets like the bets that we have found, the two that we have found, I can promise you that's something that it's very, very unlikely that you are not profitable in the long run. You need to give it a large sample size. You need to understand that there are going to be highs and there are going to be lows. But when you're sports betting with an edge, it's something that will be profitable in the long run. So moving on to play number 3, Daniel Gafford over 1.5 stocks, steals plus blocks. This is at minus 130 odds at Bet365. Similar logic here. Compare the minus 130 to the rest of the sports books. Minus 160, minus 155. Looks pretty good. Again, if you're ever unsure, you can do the additional digging. Just view the event page in a new tab. Pulls up the screen that you see here. Again, you want to click show no vig odds, and you want to make sure the odds of the bet you're placing. The majority of sportsbooks have better odds than that. So basically, do the sportsbooks that price this play, are there no vig odds above minus 130? Let's click the button. Minus 135, minus 133, minus 137, minus 137. Boom. All 4 have their odds priced above the minus 130 odds that we bet, which is a clear indication that this is a great bet. And this is bet number 3 and my final bet for the day. Daniel Gafford over 1.5 steals plus blocks, minus 130 at Bet365. And that's it. So if you're tailing these 3 bets, comment and let me know. Would love to hear it. Please remember, like, comment, subscribe. Hit me up on social media. Enjoy the NBA slate. Enjoy the March Madness slate today. And have a good one.